everybody, welcome to today's video where we're going to be breaking down some recent witness testimony. Now, good people, we have just recently heard the testimony of a lady going by the name of Mia as her pseudonym for court. She's not given more than that. Yet another one of Diddy's ex-assistants and also Diddy's former stylist, Deonte Nash. These are the current best friends of Cassie and friends that testify to an assault that they were also part of that left Cassie with a wound to her head that was bleeding. The defense for sure is going to argue rather that was accidental, but we know what wasn't accidental, and that is that Diddy has displayed violence. It might interest you to know that Deonte Nash, even though he's still currently Cassie's best friend, he has continued to communicate with Diddy. We don't know when that ended, and it's always been a loving communication between them, and he can't hate him. And that's according to Nash's own testimony on the stand. Mia, the pseudonym that she's using, and we don't have much more information than that. She kept her head down in the court most of the time. One interesting thing about Mia's testimony is that she said she was the one who told Diddy that Cassie was seeing Kid Cudi. She was the one who told this information. And she also claims a lot of things, including rape. And people are describing that there were tears in the courtroom, but this was not from the jurors. This was from the family and friends and supporters. There's a lot of theater going on, and of course these tears, but they are not coming from the jury because the jury has instructions to remain unbiased and listen to these details of the testimony, and they would be replaced, actually. Demonstrating that kind of emotion, they would be replaced by an alternate juror. That's why alternate jurors are in place, because you have to be level-headed. You have to look at the case. That's what they want you to come with an unbiased position. Both the defense and the prosecution want this, but they do want the jury and the jurors to see things their way. So they paint a picture. And the picture so far is, yes, Diddy is violent. He's a scoundrel. He's thrown things at people. He's very aggressive. He's kept drugs on his person and used them. And there were wild parties and the rape. And it's alleged forced labor. But these things are going to be interpreted. That has to be proven, or is there an eyewitness that's going to come up? Oh, and we have a missing witness, Gina, who was set to testify on the same day as Nash and Mia, but Gina did not show up. People, we still have a parade of witnesses to hear. Is it enough to keep this man behind bars on RICO charges for the rest of his life? This is the battle that's continuing, and we have weeks to go. Maybe Gina will take the stand. The fire investigators' testimony and the police officers' account of what happened during that whole setup with Kid Cudi. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, how the jury interprets this. Now a bit of a teaser of the breakdown of Capricorn Clark, another former assistant, her testimony. Capricorn Clark. Bombshells were flying on both sides. It's worth saying up front that Capricorn Clark was there back in the early days, the early 2000s, before Cassie.
Capricorn Clark testified a lot about just her experience working with Diddy, the difficulty of working for Diddy. She talked about long hours, right? Extreme pressure. Didn't she say she hated it there?
Yeah, Jesse, as far as just the long hours that she would work, again, this was something that we had heard from other assistants, including George Kaplan, including David James. Now we're hearing it from Capricorn Clark, too. She said just the pressure. She ended up getting stress-induced alopecia just from working as Diddy's personal assistant, to the point she even went to a doctor, and the doctor was essentially like, you got to calm down, you got to relieve this stress some way. We've heard from other assistants, too, again, David James, again, George Kaplan, just about hotel stays and that they would kind of set up the hotel rooms. But I thought it was interesting hearing about this from Capricorn Clark because, again, thinking about this time frame, 2004 to 2006, she was already setting up hotel rooms, and this was prior to the Cassie relationship because, according to Capricorn Clark, she was setting up hotel rooms that Diddy would even stay at with Kim Porter, and he would stay with Kim Porter about once a week. She was asked to pack and unpack things. She said that some of the aliases used for Diddy's girlfriends at the time, again, this before Cassie Cassie was Jackie Star, surprisingly a name that Cassie had used as one of her aliases. And the names that Diddy was still booking hotel rooms under were Frank Black, Frank White, but according to Capricorn, she said some of her duties even included unpacking Diddy's clothes, his shoes, but also his toiletry bag, something that was a Louis Vuitton bag. And she said what was in the Louis Vuitton bag beyond toiletries? Well, drugs, including drugs like ecstasy. And according to Capricorn Clark, ecstasy was kind of a big drug that Diddy was using a lot of the time while she was working with him. But she said she also was told to unpack a camera box. And she said inside the camera box was a camera, but also it was other items like lube and baby oil. Again, this going back all the way to the 2004-2006 time frame, and that Diddy brought this camera box and toiletry bag every hotel stay that he had went to, and that Diddy would stay in hotels for a few days on end. Again, kind of playing into what Cassie was talking about, but this predating her.
Defense and prosecution, I'm not sure whose case she helped more. Now, Capricorn Clark's testimony is supposed to help strengthen these racketeering charges with the false imprisonment, kidnapping, and she says she experienced a lot of this as well. Capricorn Clark alleges that Diddy threatened her life the first day of her job, like the first day through the interviewing phase. So that's pretty rough. And Capricorn Clark is Diddy's former assistant, personal assistant. Give you some context. This is the way she looked with Diddy in the early days and when she was helping Cassie with her styling and kind of like a right hand to Cassie. See her here with her courtroom attire. Capricorn Clark was all in the mix during this love triangle mess between Diddy, Kid Cudi, and Cassie. She saw a lot. A lot of things line up in their testimony, each one's testimony, but a lot of things do not line up. We're going to see what the good people over at Law and Crime had to say about it, but there's something strange about the whole
Threats,
thing.
forced polygraphs, a gun, and a plan to kill Kid Cudi? These are allegations a jury just heard from Capricorn Clark, a former Diddy employee whose testimony could be key to proving the racketeering case against the hip-hop mogul. Diddy Combs' former employee, Capricorn Clark, detailed a years-long pattern of alleged intimidation, violent outbursts, workplace abuse, all while working for the hip-hop mogul. And you know why her testimony is so important? Because Clark, who served as Combs' personal assistant and later as Cassandra Ventura's creative director, she arguably helps prove the racketeering charge in this case. More specifically, the underlying kidnapping, arson, maybe even forced labor underlying crimes that support the pattern of racketeering activity. Remember, prosecutors need to prove at least 2 underlying crimes to get the racketeering count. And what she apparently told these jurors was a lot. Even that Combs allegedly threatened to kill her, that she was forced to take a lie detector test. So Capricorn Clark, we knew she was going to take the stand after the explosive testimony from Kid Cudi last week where he mentioned her. Before we even get into any specifics about her testimony, just remind our audience who she is exactly, how she even got involved with the Sean Combs enterprise, or that's more of a legal term if we're talking about a criminal enterprise, the Sean Combs business. How about that?
Well, Capricorn Clark is a name that we've been hearing about a number of times, right? We know that she had been working under Diddy's employment for a number of years, but she really kind of broke it down today just as far as what position that she had held at which time. So when she was first brought on to kind of the bad boy orbit, or the Diddy orbit, we could also say, this was around the 2004 to 2006 time frame when Capricorn Clark was just Diddy's assistant at the time. But then after a couple promotions, she went on to become the director of marketing. She worked for the women's department of Sean John, and then she went on to global branding, and something that she had held as a position from about 2008 to 2012. Then there was some time lapse because a lot of things had happened after that time period. But around 2016 to 2018, she was rehired again, and she was hired actually this time to work as Cassie's brand director. So she had worked pretty much kind of from the ground up in a way, if you think about it, from just an executive assistant role all the way up until she was essentially just kind of monitoring or at least managing Cassie's brand, how she looked, how she would appear in press and red carpets, that sort of thing. And what else we know about Capricorn Clark is she was one of the other people, including Diddy and one of the security guards, who went over to Kid Cudi's house while Diddy was essentially looking for the rapper because he was in a relationship with Cassie around the time. And so this was a person that a lot of us have been been anticipating her testimony today because a lot of us just wanted to know what she had to say. We had already heard from Cassie, and we already heard from Kid Cudi last week, and now we're hearing from Capricorn Clark. So she's really kind of tied into just different orbits or different tangles of the web within Diddy's orbit, I should say.
And my understanding is that she starts her testimony by telling the jury that right from day one of her employment, Combs threatened her life. And I think this has something to do with because she had worked for Suge Knight in the past, who's a big rival, by the way, of Diddy, if anybody doesn't know.
I know, if people don't know kind of the rivalry, how it started between Diddy and Suge Knight, it's like you're living under a rock, essentially. But I thought it was interesting, just Capricorn Clark's connection to Suge Knight, and that she said that Suge Knight is the father of her best friend's children. Now, she didn't name who this best friend was while she was testifying today, but she did reveal that she had previously signed with Death Row way before she had worked with Bad Boy. So when she was hired at Bad Boy, of course, Diddy was going to have a conversation with her, and the conversation, according to Capricorn Clark, was pretty tense from what she had described. So she said this conversation that they had was just on her first day of the job as a personal assistant. So this was around the 2004 time frame. And she said on that first day that she, Diddy, and one of Diddy's security guards named Paul Alford, who we have known about for a while now, he's actually referred to by other witnesses as Uncle Paulie, that Diddy, Capricorn Clark, and Uncle Paulie all went to Central Park. And Central Park's a great place, right? But this conversation that was had at Central Park, not a great place, or not coming from a great place, according to Capricorn Clark's testimony. So she had explained that she went over to the park and that she was kind of describing Uncle Paulie's demeanor as menacing, and she even described him kind of as a linebacker when describing just the size of him. And she said that around this time that Diddy had told her that he would have her killed if she had anything to do with Suge Knight. And this was kind of a moment in the courtroom where a lot of people were just like, oh my God, what?
Stay tuned for more breakdowns of the testimony of the Diddy trial. Like, share, leave a comment, and stay tuned for more.